The secret hidden inside human skin. The first humans on Earth were not born with every shade of skin we see today. For hundreds of thousands of years, our ancestors carried one dominant feature: dark skin. And the reason was not beauty. It was survival. Long before cities, nations, and borders existed, humans lived under a sky that could kill. The African sun was not just a source of warmth. It was a powerful force of destruction. Every day, early humans walked across open landscapes, searching for food, tracking animals, and escaping predators. There was nowhere to hide. No buildings, no clothing, no modern medicine. Only a fragile human body standing beneath endless sunlight. And the sun was constantly attacking. Invisible ultraviolet rays were damaging cells, threatening the very systems that kept life going. So evolution created a shield, not made of stone, not made of metal, but hidden inside our own skin. Melanin. The pigment responsible for darker skin was not a decoration. It was a biological defense system, a natural armor built over countless generations. Melanin absorbed dangerous ultraviolet radiation and helped protect the body from damage. In a world where the sun was intense and survival depended on every advantage, darker skin was not a preference. It was protection. Imagine an early human walking through the African grasslands. The heat is overwhelming. The horizon stretches endlessly. Every step requires energy. Every mistake could mean death. The humans who carried stronger protection against the sun had a better chance of surviving and passing their genes forward. The environment was asking a question, and their bodies were answering. But evolution always demands a price. Because nature does not create perfect solutions. It creates compromises. Dark skin offered powerful protection from extreme sunlight. But that same protection also reduced the amount of sunlight entering the body. And sunlight was not only dangerous, it was also necessary. The human body needs sunlight to produce an essential nutrient that supports bones, immunity, and overall health. In places where the sun was strong, this was not a problem. There was more than enough sunlight. But then something happened that would change the future of humanity forever. Humans left Africa. They began moving into unfamiliar worlds. Across deserts, through forests, into colder regions where the sky looked different, and the sunlight became weaker. The same skin that protected them near the equator now faced a completely new challenge. Because evolution does not care about what worked yesterday. It only cares about what works tomorrow. A trait that saves your life in one environment can become a disadvantage somewhere else. And slowly, across thousands of generations, human bodies began to change. Not because one group was better, not because one appearance was superior, but because the planet itself was different. The sun was different. The environment was different. And humans had to adapt. The story of human skin is not a story about color. It is a story about movement, about survival, about a species brave enough to leave the place where it began and enter a world it had never seen before. Every shade of human skin carries a hidden memory, a memory of ancient landscapes, a memory of ancestors who faced impossible conditions, a memory of a time when the greatest challenge was not fighting other humans. It was surviving the planet itself. But when humans moved away from the powerful African sun, a new question appeared. If dark skin was the perfect solution for a bright world, what happens when humans enter a world with almost no sunlight? Because the next chapter of human evolution would reveal a surprising truth. The color of our skin changed not because humanity became different. It changed because humanity kept moving. The price of becoming lighter. Human evolution is not a journey toward perfection. It is a journey of survival. Every adaptation comes with a hidden cost. Every advantage carries a sacrifice. And the transformation of human skin color reveals one of the most fascinating trades ever made between the human body and the planet. When our ancestors moved away from Africa, they entered a world their bodies had never experienced before. The further north they traveled, the weaker the sunlight became. The days grew shorter. The winters became longer. Clouds covered the sky, and the powerful sunlight that once surrounded them became a rare resource. For thousands of generations, humans had carried dark skin because it was the perfect answer to intense sunlight. But now they were facing the opposite problem: too little sunlight. The same biological shield that once protected them began creating a new challenge. Because the human body needs sunlight for a critical process, it uses sunlight to produce vitamin D, a substance essential for strong bones, healthy growth, and a functioning immune system. But melanin, the same pigment that protected ancient humans from harmful ultraviolet rays, also blocked some of the sunlight needed for this process. In a place with endless sunshine, this was a brilliant design. In a place with weak sunlight, it became a disadvantage. So evolution began another experiment. Over countless generations, humans with slightly lighter skin could absorb more sunlight in environments where sunlight was limited. They had a better chance of maintaining healthy bodies. They were more likely to survive, and they were more likely to pass those traits to future generations. Slowly, human skin became lighter, not because nature was trying to create a better human, but because nature was trying to create a human better suited for a specific place. This distinction matters because evolution does not have a ranking system. It does not move toward a final goal. A polar bear is not more evolved than a desert fox. A bird is not more advanced because it can fly. They are simply different answers to different problems. Human skin follows the same rule. Dark skin is an answer to powerful sunlight. Light skin is an answer to limited sunlight. Neither is an upgrade. Neither is a downgrade. They are survival strategies written into the human body. But there is something deeper hidden inside this story. Evolution is a process without emotion. It does not understand pride. It does not understand shame. It does not understand beauty. It does not know what humans will later believe about themselves. It only follows one question: which traits help life continue? Yet humans have always searched for meaning. We look at differences and create stories. Sometimes those stories connect us. Sometimes they divide us. The tragedy is that a biological adaptation created by geography was later misunderstood as something much greater. People began attaching social meanings to skin color. They turned a record of ancient migration into a symbol of identity and separation. But the science tells a completely different story. Human skin color is not a measure of intelligence. It is not a measure of ability. It is not a measure of worth. It is imply evidence of where our ancestors lived and what challenges they faced. A person with darker skin carries the history of generations who survived under intense sunlight. A person with lighter skin carries the history of generations who adapted to weaker sunlight. Both stories begin from the same place. Both belong to the same species. The differences we see today are the footprints of ancient journeys. They are not walls between humans. They are maps of where humans have been. And perhaps the most surprising part is this: the human body never stopped changing. The same forces that shaped our ancestors are still influencing us today. The environment continues to leave marks. The planet continues to write on our bodies. Because evolution is not a chapter from the distant past. It is an ongoing conversation between life and the world around it. And the story of human skin reveals a powerful truth. What appears different on the surface may actually be evidence of the same struggle underneath. A struggle shared by every human who ever lived. The struggle to survive. The sun that rewrote history. We often think of skin color as something we simply inherit. A feature passed down from our parents. Something permanent. Something that defines how we look. But beneath the surface, skin color is a record of a much older story. A story written by sunlight. Because the sun did not just shape the planet. It shaped us. Every human body is the result of a conversation between genes and the environment. The world changes. Life responds. And over thousands of generations, those responses become part of who we are. When humans spread across different continents, they carried the same biological foundation, the same ancestors, the same basic human design. But the environments they entered were completely different. Some groups lived under powerful tropical sunlight. Others survived in colder regions where sunlight was weaker and less frequent. The planet created different challenges, and human bodies developed different solutions. But this process was never simple, because every adaptation involves a compromise. When humans developed darker skin, they gained stronger protection against ultraviolet radiation, but they also reduced the efficiency of absorbing sunlight. When humans developed lighter skin, they improved their ability to produce vitamin D in low sunlight environments, but they became more vulnerable to intense ultraviolet exposure. Evolution was not building a perfect human. It was constantly adjusting a balance. Protection versus absorption. Strength versus flexibility. Survival today versus survival tomorrow. This is the hidden logic of nature. Life does not choose what is ideal. Life chooses what is possible. And this principle appears everywhere. Animals change their bodies to survive different climates. Plants reshape themselves to find sunlight. Entire ecosystems transform when the environment shifts. Humans are not separate from this process. We are part of it. But unlike other species, humans possess something unique. We do not only adapt biologically, we adapt culturally. We build shelters. We create clothing. We invent medicine. We develop technology. We use knowledge to overcome limitations that once controlled our ancestors. A person living today can travel from a tropical region to a frozen landscape within hours. Our bodies may still carry ancient adaptations, but our civilization allows us to move beyond many natural boundaries. And this creates a fascinating contradiction. We are modern humans carrying ancient bodies. Inside us are biological memories from a world of hunting, migration, and survival. Our skin still remembers the sun our ancestors lived under. Our instincts still carry traces of the dangers they faced. Even the way we judge strangers may come from ancient survival mechanisms. For early humans, noticing differences quickly could be useful. A stranger from another group might represent competition or danger. The brain learned to pay attention to unfamiliar signals. But the world has changed faster than our instincts. The same mental shortcuts that once protected small tribes can create misunderstandings in a connected world. A difference that was once simply information became a reason for division. This is one of the great contradictions of humanity. We are intelligent enough to understand evolution, yet we often struggle to escape the assumptions created by our own ancient instincts. The story of skin color teaches us something uncomfortable. Nature created diversity because humans moved, because humans explored, because humans survived in different worlds. The very differences that separate us visually are proof that our ancestors succeeded in adapting. Human diversity is not evidence that we became different species. It is evidence that one species was capable of surviving almost everywhere. Every shade of skin is a chapter in the same book. Every variation is a sentence written by geography. Every human face is carrying a history, older than civilization itself. But perhaps the most important question is not how our skin changed. The deeper question is what we did after it changed. Because nature created differences without judgment. It was humans who added meaning. And the stories we created about those differences would shape history far more than biology ever did. The final chapter of this story is not about skin. It is about the human mind, about why we struggle to see the connection behind the differences, and whether we can finally understand what our own bodies have been telling us for thousands of generations. Beyond skin color, every day, billions of people look at each other. They notice faces. They notice features. They notice differences. But hidden beneath all those differences is a truth far older than any civilization. We are all carrying the same story, the story of human survival. For most of human history, skin color was never a symbol. It was a solution, a response to the world around us. Our ancestors did not become different because they wanted to separate from one another. They became different because they traveled, because they explored, because they entered places where life demanded change. The human journey began with movement. A small group of early humans leaving one landscape and entering another, then another, and another. Each generation carried tiny changes from the previous one. Over time, those tiny changes became visible. Different environments painted different versions of the same human species. But the mistake we often make is confusing adaptation with identity. We see a difference and assume it means separation. We see a variation and imagine a boundary. Yet biology tells us something completely different. The diversity of human skin is not a sign that humans moved apart forever. It is evidence that humans were connected enough to spread across the entire planet. Every skin tone is a reminder that our ancestors were travelers. They crossed deserts. They survived winters. They followed rivers. They searched for new places to live. The colors we see today are not symbols of distance. They are footprints of movement. But there is a deeper lesson hidden inside this story. Human beings have always struggled with difference. Our brains evolved in small groups where recognizing outsiders quickly could protect survival. A stranger could mean danger. An unfamiliar appearance could mean uncertainty. This instinct helped ancient humans survive. But in the modern world, the same instinct can create invisible barriers. The problem was never that humans noticed differences. The problem was that we began assigning values to them. We transformed natural variation into social meaning. We turned biological adaptation into artificial categories. And we forgot the original story written by evolution. A person's skin does not reveal their intelligence. It does not reveal their character. It does not reveal their potential. It reveals a journey through sunlight, geography, and time. A journey shared by every human being who has ever existed. Perhaps the most fascinating part is that human evolution is not finished. The environment continues to change. Our lifestyles continue to transform. Our relationship with nature continues to evolve. Thousands of years ago, sunlight shaped our skin. Today, technology protects us from sunlight. Clothing replaces fur. Medicine replaces natural defenses. Cities replace wilderness. Human civilization has become a powerful force capable of changing the conditions that once changed us. But even as we reshape the planet, our bodies still carry memories of the past. Our skin is a living archive. It stores the history of ancient landscapes. It remembers the intensity of tropical suns. It remembers the weakness of northern light. It remembers the countless generations who survived long before we existed. And maybe that is the most beautiful contradiction of being human. We are a species obsessed with differences. Yet our greatest story is one of connection. Every person alive today is the descendant of survivors. People who endured hunger, people who faced storms, people who walked into unknown worlds, people who adapted. The question is no longer why humans have different skin colors. Science has already answered that. The more important question is this. After learning that every shade of humanity comes from the same ancient journey, will we continue seeing color as a reason to separate? Or will we finally see it for what it truly is? A reminder that humanity was never divided by nature. We were shaped by it. And beneath every shade of skin is the same ancient heartbeat. The heartbeat of a species that survived because it changed,